So you're going first, right?
Yes. Okay. Welcome to episode 8.
8?
8.
Already?
I counted yesterday.
Sheesh. All right, episode 8 of AntiSocial Murder Club. And this week we are covering murders from across the sea.
Yep, across the pond. Well, not really, but
over some body of water outside of the U.S.
Outside of the continental United States.
Yes.
We're not even going to apologize for going missing. Shit happens. Deal with it.
We already told you it's a sometime.
Yeah, it's just, deal with it.
Whatever.
Anything exciting?
Not really. My pseudo nephew turned 1. Aww. So we had a big old party for him.
Celebrating life while we are over here talking about death. Yeah. You need to balance yourself out.
Exactly. You need balance.
Exactly.
But that was pretty good this weekend. But the other than that weekend was pretty quiet. What about yours?
Mine was relaxing. I had a good bay time, which is much needed. Wink, wink.
I knew you were going somewhere when you said good bay time. It's just our face. Nasty.
Look, we're open-minded here.
No kink shaming. Respecting your agency.
Look, I was hanging from the ceiling from my ankles.
What hotel?
With my pinkies.
With your pinkies?
This Marriott in Fairfax, Fair Oaks, if you're from Virginia. It's like in the parking lot, kind of. It sounds really bad, like in the parking lot of a mall. But it's like very fancy, very nice.
Okay. Because I know you guys usually find like the nice...
Yeah. Well, this one I actually worked at for like a couple days, so I worked like right around the corner at a hotel, and they shipped me there for a little bit.
Okay.
So I put it down on my notes, and it was cheap for the day, so I was just like,
Okay, well,
let's get started.
Yeah, where are you taking us since we're talking about locations and stuff?
Yeah, true. This is a good segue.
Yes.
I like it.
Look at that.
Smooth. All right. We're going to go vacation to Colombia, except this isn't going to be very nice. Colombia.
Central America.
We are going to talk about El Monstruo de los Andes, or the Monster of the Andes.
Wow.
AKA, well, I guess that's his AKA. Pedro Alonso Lopez. Always 3 names for us Hispanics,
as we sometimes do.
I'm surprised it's not 6. Most of us got 6 names.
Yeah, it comes from family members and last names.
All right, so this is actually a very disgusting case. Very twisted, child abuse. If this is a trigger, stop listening. Come back later.
Actually, you should know, if you click on our podcast, it's about murder, so you should be expected to be triggered.
Exactly. And if you're sipping, shout out the Thoughtarita.
You're sipping the Thoughtarita?
Yep.
I actually have nothing today. Usually I at least have some water.
Do you need to? Are you parched?
A little bit, but I'll be all right.
Are you thirsty, Nia?
Yes.
Stay thirsty, mi amigos. All right. So we're going to go back a little bit, of course, as we always do, and talk a little bit about this motherfucker's history. Just so you know. So he was born October 8th, 1948 in Santa Isabel, Colombia. His father died while his mother was pregnant with him, so he never knew his father. Didn't really have a father figure. His mother had to take to sex work in order to support her 13 children.
Yo.
13. He was number 7.
Sheesh.
13 kids.
I wonder how many baby daddies she actually
I feel like that damn, I didn't even think about that. That's true.
Because if she worked in sex work.
That's right, and he was number 7.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that she just started that. Sheesh.
As a young child, Pedro Lopez witnessed his mother actually be assaulted by clients and all that. She was beaten, raped right in front of him. I'm pretty sure he saw everything. So from a very early age, he was exposed to things he shouldn't have been.
Isn't that the theme of most of these
exactly. And there were claims by him in later interviews after he was caught and everything that his mother physically abused him and all the other kids. But she denied it. But with 13 kids, there's got to be a moment where you just lose it.
It's a lot of kids, man.
Exactly. He was kicked out of the house at age 9 after molesting his younger sister.
Oh, wow.
He traveled, we can assume he hitchhiked because this was back in like the 50s, to the capital of Colombia, Bogota. And during his journey to Bogota, he met a man who had promised him a hot meal and a bed and that he would help him. But of course, instead he took him to an abandoned house and raped him.
Wait. Who raped who?
Oh, the old guy
raped.
The old guy raped him.
Okay.
I don't think he was out here at 9 raping old men.
Oh, that's right. He was 9.
So while in Bogota, Pedro became a street kid. He like joined a little street gang for protection because, of course, the streets are ruthless and it's either like if you're alone, you get harassed daily, or be with a gang and maybe you'll survive. So part of like the gang's little MO thing, whatever, is that they would steal and like resell auto parts for money. He would they'd have like little fight clubs between children for like places to sleep and food, which is really sick.
The first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Well, I wasn't part of Fight Club, so. And as a young kid, probably like 10 at this point, he became addicted to like basically street cocaine, like an impure form of cocaine.
Sheesh.
Yeah. At the age of 12, an American couple adopted him and enrolled him at a school for orphans where a male teacher sexually assaulted him.
If he was adopted, how is he still an orphan?
It's weird. I guess there were like schools for kids. Well, technically he's an orphan because they're not biological parents.
Oh.
Yeah. So like they would send them there for, I guess it was like kind of like a boarding school of sorts where you just send him there for like months and then they come back. But yeah, he was sexually abused by a teacher while he was there at the age of 12. So this is the second time
he was sexually abused.
Yep. He ran away from the couple, from the home, and he continued being a street kid. So we're going to fast forward. There's not much information from like the age of 12 to 21. But once he was 21, he had his first run-in with the law after stealing a car. He was sent to prison where he was gang raped.
Jeez.
And although his childhood was filled with abuse, both like physical and sexual, because goddamn, this event in particular was one that like deeply traumatized him and like one that he couldn't get over. It was just like kind of what fueled his anger in the end. Because it was like, apparently it was like 3 or 4 guys that raped him.
I mean, rape period is traumatizing, but to be raped by multiple people at the same time.
And I feel like
has to really.
I don't want to be problematic right now or like ever right now. But like, I feel like for a boy, it's so, no, I don't know if it's so much worse, but mentally maybe. I mean, because it's like for boys, if you're like, of course, I'm assuming in 1948 in Colombia is like.
He's very macho.
Yeah, exactly. And like
you feel like, yeah, I mean, from my understanding, from what I've seen, like in other like documentaries and other people that have talked about being raped as a man, if you are masculine and, you know,
it's
it takes away from that because of how society makes men view themselves.
Exactly.
So I can see how it eats at them a little differently than it would eat at a woman.
And as like a rape victim, it's already like you're looking at yourself saying like, did I do something wrong? Is it my fault? And now like add to that the whole masculinity stuff.
And then they're probably questioning whether they're gay or not.
Exactly.
Because, you know, your body does have its own responses.
Exactly. So, I mean, I can see why this in particular was like so traumatizing. So following that specific gang rape, Lopez set out to kill the rapist. He was still in jail, so he made a shiv and killed them all. It was like 3 to 4, we don't really know. And some reports say he strangled the leader with his bare hands. So the one that like told them to do it, I guess. And this like actually gained him respect from other inmates because apparently this gang would do it to like everybody.
They were probably like, yes,
exactly,
finally.
Exactly. So I guess at this point he gets the sense of power from killing. So this is what starts it all.
I guess that makes sense because he was given positive reinforcement for doing it at that time.
Exactly. Yeah. And like given his history, it's probably the first time that he sees any type of
control over himself because really his body has been taken away from him several times. Yeah.
So he was released from prison in 1978, and at this point he starts abducting little girls, raping and murdering them, as many as 3 per week. So like one thing that I will say about this, like doing international murders, is like you don't find much information. And like what I found, luckily, was like some in Spanish, but they also didn't really have much. It was just kind of like,
yeah, you
fill in the blanks.
You have the advantage of it being in 2 languages that you speak.
Yeah.
Whereas my murder, when we get there, is a language that
yeah, I'm sorry
I have
about that.
no experience in.
But there's like really not much info, so there's like gaps between that we don't really know. So once he was released from prison, he became a drifter, and he ended up in Peru. Shortly after his release from prison, while in Peru, he tried to abduct a 9-year-old indigenous girl, but he was caught by like her mom and like other people that saw it before he was actually able to take her. So the natives beat, tortured, and buried Pedro up to his neck, and they had actually planned on pouring syrup on his head and letting ants eat him alive. But here comes little American missionary who intervened and convinced the tribe to let Pedro go, promising to deliver him to police.
Man, the tribe already did what
exactly.
they needed to do.
They could have saved so many little girls.
Without the white man's law. I'm just
Thank
saying.
you. Like, who are you? First of all, what are you doing in this indigenous territory? Let's just, like, start off with that.
They go hard when it comes to their daughters. They go hard.
Do you blame them? Here's this motherfucker who's not even from this, like, village trying to steal the little girls? Hell no.
I probably feel more protective living with them than I would anywhere else.
And at this point, there was already, like, multiple little girls that had gone missing.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't want the shit.
Exactly. They were going to take it into their own hands. But, of course, here comes the colonizers trying to fuck shit up. So this stupid American actually lied. And
it gets more stupider.
Oh, it's about to get more stupider. So she actually lied and drove him to the Colombian border where she set him free. So, like, my whole thing is, so you know what he did, and you're trying to save him because God or whatever, your conscious, whatever type white people logic there is. But yet, he was trying to abduct a little girl, and you're going to set him free?
Because knowing her, she didn't believe the indigenous people because, you know, they're stupid. You know,
but you're gonna believe the other brown guy,
right? Air quotations, because I don't really think they're stupid, but I'm sure that's what her logic was, and so she just sets him free.
She probably just thought they were savages, because that's what most white people think.
Precisely. Or her Spanish was so horrible that she didn't understand.
Look, you already know how we feel. All right, so once he was set free by the stupid American, he traveled through Colombia and Ecuador, raping and killing little girls along the way. So he never stopped. Like, there was no stopping this motherfucker. During this time, authorities believed human trafficking or a sex ring were actually, like, to blame for the little girls' abductions. Because I guess, like, no one thought that it could just be one guy doing all this shit. In 1979, after a flash flood in Ambato, Ecuador, the bodies of 4 missing girls were uncovered. Just days later, Pedro was again caught attempting to abduct a little girl, 12-year-old Maria Poveda, from a marketplace in Ambato. So Pedro was almost lynched once again by the little girl's mother and other women who had witnessed the attempted kidnapping, but police rescued Pedro before being lynched. But they arrested him, so it's not like they set him free like the other stupid American.
Well, I guess they didn't want, because it's illegal to be a vigilante or whatever.
True, or maybe they, like, figured out, like, hey, maybe this dude didn't just, like, maybe this dude has to do with the 4 bodies that just resurfaced around the corner.
Yeah, because if they killed him, then they couldn't research anything else, so investigate anything else. So I guess that makes sense. But I would prefer
exactly. So police learned that Pedro was in fact not from Ecuador, but from Colombia, and accused him of being part of the gang abducting little girls. Pedro was beaten and interrogated for hours, but he remained silent. It wasn't until the police captain Pastor Cordova decided to interrogate Pedro himself that, and he, like, took a different approach to, like, it wasn't just like he was going to beat the shit out of him, which he probably should have and wanted to. he like offered Pedro food and like cigarettes. He asked him about how he was feeling and like how his health was before like even mentioning the abduction of the little girl. So it was kind of like he wanted to get like good cop, like the good cop. So when Cordova revealed to Pedro that he was under a great pressure from like the missing girls' families, and like made him like say like, hey, like the family's really they don't want to do you any harm, they're just looking for their little girls. So Pedro finally spoke up and he told Cordova that one of the missing girls could be found in a cabin just outside of town. So when police arrived to the cabin, they found the nude body of Ivanova Hakom lying on an old mattress, and she was dead, of course. After finding Ivanova, Cordova confronted Pedro and asked him how many girls had suffered the same fate. Pedro looked up and said, over 200 in Ecuador, some in Peru, and many more in Colombia.
Jeez Louise.
Yup. So the president of Ecuador ordered Pedro to take authorities to the places where he had left the bodies of each and every one of the missing girls. Pedro eventually led the police to more than 30 shallow graves, but once he learned that he would actually be charged with the murders, he thought at this point, like, if he said, oh yeah, they're over here, they'd like let him go or be lenient. But when he learned that they were actually going to charge his ass, he stopped cooperating and declared he was innocent. But it's like, you knew where the bodies were, my boy. How?
But why would he think... What is he another case where like his IQ wasn't really?
I'm assuming no, because he like they kicked him out when he was 9, so he didn't finish school. He became a street kid at 9, so I'm assuming he didn't.
Yeah, so he might not be stupid, he just didn't know. But I just feel like I feel like that's common knowledge though. Like why would the cops let you go if you got caught?
Thank you. Or maybe the cop like told him like, hey, if you tell us, we won't be that hard on you or whatever.
Yeah, they do that sometimes.
Which, I mean, do what you need. 53 bodies were eventually recovered in Ambato. Many graves were emptied or scavenged by animals before they could be found. So Lopez's minimum body count is believed to be 110, although some believe the total number is closer to 300.
300?
Yep. In 1980, Pedro was convicted of 3 murders, only 3, and sentenced to 16 years in prison, which was the max for murder in Ecuador at that time. Like, no matter how many you killed, that was the max. 16 years.
They laws are fucked up.
Now it's different, but still.
So, if his numbers really were 300, he had to been snatching multiple little girls a day.
Up to 3 a week. And he had been doing this for a long time. And the thing is that the girls were from indigenous villages.
Oh, that's what he preferred, I guess.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't speak Spanish.
Right, so they couldn't go tell the authorities, which made sense.
And there's discrimination against them from, like, people, you know. Yeah. You know.
I'm hip.
So Pedro actually only served 14 out of the 16 years because he was set free for good behavior.
What?
Mm-hmm. And he was released on August 31st of 1994, which was almost exactly 1 year after I was born, which is scary as fuck. He was arrested just 1 hour later for being in Ecuador illegally. Remember, all this happened in Ecuador. He's Colombian. Mm-hmm. So as soon as they set him free, he was deported to Colombia.
Okay.
Now, once he arrived to Colombia, an angry mob actually formed outside the hospital where he was sent to, because he was sent for a medical evaluation or whatever. And up until this point, no one had come forth, is that the way to say it? About like Pedro attacking them or maybe in Colombia. Mm-hmm. Or like taking their kid or anything like that. So they really had no charges, or they just had like the fact that he spent 14 years in prison in Ecuador was like the only thing that like told them, hey, he could have done something here.
Right.
So Colombian authorities were reluctant to set him free, but they couldn't charge him with anything. So they moved him back to his old hometown. Somehow they were able to like keep him in the town. So it was kind of like he was in jail, but not really. They were hoping that like by the time, like within a recent, what is it? I don't even know what I'm saying.
Within a good time frame?
Yeah, I guess hoping that sometime soon an old victim would come forward or something like that.
Yeah.
And help them like lock his ass up. So Alba Sanchez came forward and told authorities that in 1979 she had witnessed Pedro walking away with her daughter. Her daughter's body was found just outside of town, raped and strangled. But I guess she didn't know who this guy was. She didn't report it to authorities. So he just went on with his shit. So knowing that, like, raping and strangling, kidnapping little girls was his modus operandi, his MO. Authorities arrested him.
Wait, I never knew that's what an MO meant.
Yeah. That's why I put it here.
Teach us something.
After being found guilty, Pedro's attorney demanded a psychiatric evaluation. Which, like, why? But, okay. So, Pedro was officially ruled insane in 1995, and he was committed to a mental hospital instead of being sent to prison.
Okay.
After a new it gets better. So, after a new psychiatric reevaluation years later, he was somehow found to be sane and was released in 1998 on $50 bail.
What?
On the condition that he would continue getting psychiatric treatment and check in with police on a monthly basis. And
like he was really going to do that.
And did he do it, Nia? Did he?
No.
No, fuck that. Pedro returned to his hometown where his mother still resided, went to her home, and, like, she was sure that he was going to kill her. But he actually, like, blamed her for everything that happened in life, and, like, he was doing the shit because it was, like, her fault or whatever, and gave her his blessing. Like, he, like, forced her to get down on her knees and then was like, may God bless you or some shit. Weird.
I mean, I can agree with him, like, Ma, like, what you did to me is why I became the way I am. I mean, that makes sense. But the rest of that's a little weird.
Again, there's something wrong with this motherfucker.
Okay.
So before leaving, he asked his mom for his quote-unquote inheritance. And what money was she going to have with 13 kids and working as a sex worker? Like, what money, my boy? What money? Once he learned that she had no money, he took her bed and sold it for parts.
Her bed?
Her bed.
You could sell a bed for parts?
In Colombia.
Okay.
No shade. Was that shady?
I don't know.
My bad.
We don't want no smoke with no Colombians. No smoke?
We love y'all, man. Love the food.
You're our Central American neighbors, okay?
True shit.
Yeah.
So, after he sold the bed for parts and money and whatever, he disappeared. He's never been seen ever again. He's still out there free. No one knows where he is.
And how old would he be?
69. So he's pretty, like, he's relatively young.
Yeah.
He's probably still out. Who knows where this motherfucker is?
Yeah, because he can still overpower a little girl. And
yep.
I mean, ugh.
Yep. So, some of the afters. So, like I talked about before, his modus operandi, his MO. So, he targeted girls between the ages of 8 and 12. They were mostly poor indigenous little girls from, like, remote villages. He would stalk the girls for an unknown amount of time and then abduct them. He would take them to a secluded area where he would rape and strangle them to death. He buried the bodies in shallow graves in groups of 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. He would then return to play tea party with the group of bodies until they were too decomposed to do so.
He's like reliving his childhood.
Basically. Basically. So he claimed to only kill during the day because he wanted to have a clear view of their faces as they died. And so, like, I guess one of the, I don't know if reasons or whatever, but, like, one of the articles I was reading gave, like, a good explanation as to maybe why he did what he did. Not that there's any explanation. So growing up, he witnessed his mother having sex, which made him assimilate sex with affection.
Right.
When he tried to do that to his sister, he was kicked out. So he automatically, like, said, or in his brain was like, sex needs to be punished. Like, that's punishable. You can't show affection.
Okay.
Which made a lot of sense.
Yeah, because he got mixed views on what sex is and should be. So,
yep. Yeah. And since his childhood was, like, super abusive and just, like, full of horribleness, he assumed that destroying childhood innocence was natural and that by killing his victims, which he chose because of their presumed innocence, he was actually helping them and sparing them a life of poverty and abuse. And this is after, like, interviews with him and all that.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's never any explanation as to why these motherfuckers do the shit that they do, but it's more of, like...
understanding their logic, understanding their psychology.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a case of the Monstruo de los Andes, Pedro Lopez.
What do you have to say? Like it's,
like it's a novela?
Yeah, like it's a novela. Lopez. I feel bad for the little girls. It was so many of them.
So, like, there's no real number. Like, they just assume it's 300, but there could be more, there could be less. It's probably growing. God knows where he is.
Yeah, because he probably with some indigenous tribe, but... I mean, the rate we're knocking down these forests, you might find them. They ain't got nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's, like, sick.
Oh.
It's sick. And, like, his whole childhood was just like, what the fuck?
I really try not to sympathize with these murderers, but, like, whenever we learn about their childhood, it kind of...
Because, like, even though, like, he grew up to be a piece of shit... As a child, no child deserves to go through that over and over again.
Yeah. And it's kind of like you realize that in a way it might not be their fault because they weren't taught any different.
Exactly. And it's like for a lot of them, like what if, like he got kicked out of his house. Mind you, for doing like some fucked up shit. But like when he got raped that first time, he had nowhere to go. He had no one to run to. Like you're a 9-year-old boy and you get brutally raped by a grown-ass man. The first thing you want is your mom.
Yep.
Regardless of whether she was abusive. And he didn't have that.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yep. It goes back to like those studies they've done on the importance of affection throughout childhood and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like... I feel like he was set up for failure. Not to say that like what he did was excusable, of course. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of more of like when you're not in that right state of mind already... Mm-hmm. You're just kind of built for failure.
Yep.
So hug your children at night. Tell them you love them.
And kiss them.
Exactly.
And that's it. Because you guys that go too far, you see what happens. Just saying.
Oh my God. I'm mad that we thought about it. I wasn't going to say it because I didn't want to ruin the moment.
Look. All right, so we are leaving Colombia.
All right, we're at the airport.
Yep.
Bags checked.
Yep.
We just got molested by TSA.
I won't say molested, but yeah, that's what happens. And we are going to Asia.
Ooh.
And we're going to go exactly to Japan.
Yay! Turn up. I've always wanted to go to Japan.
Same. I just want to go shopping.
And eat.
Yes.
I want all
that was the next
foods.
thing. Viceland, give us a shout.
For real. Can we cover like murders and food?
Yes.
Yo. All right, let's not talk about it.
Okay.
Someone may steal our idea.
Someone from Viceland sent us a letter.
Yo, they don't got those. Never mind.
Damn it. All right, anyway. So I am doing...
Ooh, girl. Almost lost it there.
Yeah, I almost dropped my iPad, guys. Okay, so bear with me here with these names. I am doing Futoshi Matsunaga.
Go ahead.
Okay?
All right.
He and his accomplice, Junko Ogata. Okay? So they're actually a common law couple. They were active between the years of 1996 and 1998, and they're said to have between 7 and 9 victims.
Goddamn.
FYI, throughout this case, I'm going to be saying a lot of names, but try to pay attention because they're important. It's very important.
Can we give him nicknames?
Sure.
Person A, B, C, maybe? Is that?
It's a little too many to do that.
Oh, goddamn.
But we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah. Okay. So, their premise, or MO, as Myra was saying.
Modus operandi.
Yes.
Is that Latin? I don't know why I asked.
Don't know. It's to defraud and torture victims. Matsunaga was said to run his own house of horrors.
Go ahead.
And what was done to his victims was so bad that many mass media outlets refused to report the details.
Which for us sucks.
All right, we be liking the details. But like what Myra said, it's also a case from overseas, so it's limited anyway. So unless we have some people who speak Japanese that listen, help
Let
us
us
out.
know if you were there during that time. I don't know, victims. We'd love to have a chatteroo.
So, Matsunaga was born, we're going to talk about his childhood now, I'm sorry. He was born in April 28th, 1961 in I really don't want to butcher these names.
In Japan.
Guys. Yeah, he was born in Japan. Okay. And as I said, I didn't really find much on his childhood, but every source stated the same line, that he received good grades in school and had a charming personality, but tended to exhibit disciplinary problems. Okay. Upon a little bit more research, I found that he was a juvenile delinquent and was forced to transfer schools after engaging in a relationship with a middle school age girl.
What?
Some sources say they even lived together.
How old was he?
He was a teenager.
Oh. What?
Yeah, I don't know how that works in Japan, like what age they're allowed to move out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Middle
being
school
from
still.
A Hispanic family, we're never allowed to leave, so
It's frowned upon. You gotta get married and live with your husband at home.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
Nope. At the age of 19, he married and had a child, which was a little boy. They never really went into detail about names.
He probably went into hiding.
Probably. In 1982, he became involved with his accomplice, Junko. And she was actually a former classmate of his.
He had something for schoolgirls?
I guess. She went to the first school he went to before he transferred.
Okay.
So they didn't know each other very well in school. But and when they were involved, he was still married to the other chick.
Ooh, you traveling ass.
It was actually said that Matsunaga had upwards of 10 mistresses.
At a time?
You know what I'm saying?
He just had dick for days?
Yep, he had that community dick.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bump you.
In 1984, he promised to marry Junko, but her mother, Shizumi, disapproved of their relationship because of his abuse towards her.
Your mother always knows best.
Yeah, my mom was pretty accurate about a few things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moms know best. Moms sense this. Listen to your mamas.
So he wasn't happy that that Shizumi didn't want him marrying Junko, so he retaliated by raping Shizumi.
The mother?
Yeah. He actually claimed that she seduced him, but the truth was that he raped her. And in 1985, he convinced Junko that her family hated her because of a suicide attempt and persuaded her to move in with him.
What the fuck? So he raped her mom and she didn't do shit?
No.
You raped my mom. I'm chopping you up into pieces.
I mean, you'll see, but he does a lot to her family.
Oh my God.
So later the same year, he purchased a building and opened a futon company and store. He was said to have been abusive to his employees and electrically shocked them.
Well, shit.
He would. It was also said that he would shout at other men, saying things like, "There's a spirit behind you. It's sucking away your fortune."
What?
And he would also make references to religious terms while torturing his employees.
Per usual. Which, never mind.
So, let's go into his murders and crimes. So by 1992, I'm gonna make sure I pronounce this. Matsunaga. Yeah, Matsunaga had stolen 180 million yen. And that's $2.2 million.
Oh, shit.
US dollars. Yeah. Through fraud and blackmail.
And scammers.
Yeah. In 1993, he murdered his first victim, an unnamed woman from the same city he was from, and she was married with 3 kids.
Oh, shit.
He convinced her to leave her husband and run away with him. And the woman was under the impression that Junko was his sister.
Damn. Oh my God. He sounds like one of these DC dudes.
Typical fuckboy. In September of the same year, one of the woman's children died underneath mysterious circumstances.
AKA he killed him.
Her other 2 children went to live with family members, and Matsunaga defrauded the woman for 11.8 million yen. She died in March of 1994, but the police were unable to prove that he was the killer of her or her child. Later the same year, Matsunaga went after his first victim, Kumio Toraya, and his daughter.
Shit.
Matsunaga blackmailed Kumio using his criminal past against him. It seemed that Kumio used to go to Matsunaga to talk about like how to move forward after having a criminal past and things like that. Oh shit! So he just used it against him.
Don't trust these people.
Nope. So Matsunaga held Kumio and his daughter captive in a room inside of his condo. He would torture him with electric shocks and forced his daughter to bite him.
Holy shit.
The worst of it was, well, I don't know which one is worse, but the worst of it was that he used to make Kumio eat his own feces.
Oh, goddamn.
In February,
I might prefer to get shocked electrically.
Yeah, really.
I'm not.
Nope.
I'll kill myself.
Nope. February 26th of 1996. Kumio, I keep saying Kumio succumbed to his abuse.
Shit.
Matsunaga convinced the daughter that she murdered her own father and made her help Junko with the disposal of the body. It was said that his remains were pulverized and thrown into the sea near the Kunisaki Peninsula.
I need to know how he pulverized these remains for research purposes.
He got a pistol and mortar. Like a giant joint.
Can you imagine how much time that would take? Let's try it. I got a body in the trunk right now.
Uh-oh. So his next target was an acquaintance of Kumio, and he told the woman that he would marry her. So like that's what he would do to most of these people.
And he must have some marvelous dick or something.
Oh no!
Because if you tell me, "Oh, I'll marry you," great, and
when it's gonna happen? Because I ain't getting no money. So he was able to get 5.6 million yen, which is about $69,000 US dollars from her.
He'd be shit out of luck with us.
Yeah, we broke.
You got about 1 cent to spare. I got about 1 cent to spare.
I got like $5 on my Cash App. You want it?
That's about it. He probably like broke bitch and like walk away.
Oh, so this woman also had a child like the previous crime. He held him hostage in the room of his second floor apartment or condo.
Damn. And nobody heard anything?
The woman was able to escape by jumping from a window, and she was placed in a mental hospital.
Really?
Yeah. But like I'm like no one investigated.
No one decided to knock on the door?
I found like nothing on that. Like no one investigated nothing. Now there was
it was a woman back in the day.
In Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah.
So
Junko became overwhelmed with the abuse and the crimes that they've done.
Now?
Yeah.
Now you're sick of this shit? Not when he raped your mom a couple years ago.
Right. I was like, your mom wasn't
like that wasn't the
icing on the cake for you. Okay. But yeah, so she became overwhelmed and she disappeared. Matsunaga contacted her family to get her back. He threatened them and blackmailed Shizumi over her rape, which again we know he committed.
Damn.
He then faked his own suicide and funeral, prompting Junko's return.
What?
And when she got back, he violently abused her soon after.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
He jumped out the casket like, ha! Bitch.
Gotcha, bitch. So he moved on to rape Junko's sister, Riko.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed. What the fuck?
Yep.
What the fuck?
So after he raped Riko, he held her family hostage.
He raped the dad too?
They don't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised. It was said that he psychologically controlled them in ways similar to the methods of cult leader Shoko Arishara. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sexually abused the women with electric shocks.
Holy fuck. He liked that electricity, didn't he?
Yes, he did. During this time, he convinced the family to give him 63 million yen.
Yo, I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah, like where
I ain't got no monies. I I ain't got no monies.
Right, he just really targeting the rich people here.
Seriously.
So December 21 of 1997, he made Junko shock her 61-year-old father, Yaskasagi, to death. His name is Yakisagi.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so she was forced to shock her dad to death.
Fuck.
Soon after, Shizumi, her mother, mental state began to deteriorate due to the abuse.
I'd imagine so. She's already been raped.
So Matsunaga made Riko, which is the sister, Riko and her husband Kazuyo strangle her to death on January 20th of 1998. So
oh my god.
Riko, being the sister, was forced to strangle her mother with her husband.
Holy shit.
Riko again went deaf due to the abuse.
Fuck.
So I'm wondering if he was like shocking her in her eardrums or something,
or
like that.
Like that other guy we talked about,
Shoving things in the ear.
like a screwdriver.
Yeah. Weeks later, Kazuya, which is her husband, was made to strangle her with their 10-year-old daughter Aya holding her down.
Fuck. So technically, like, again, not to be on this guy's side, but technically he didn't kill anybody.
He was making everybody do his work.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So Kazuya then was confined to a bathroom where he later died of starvation.
Oh my god.
It was said to happen on April 13th of 98.
Oh.
Matsunaga then forced Junko and Aya to kill Riko's 5-year-old son, Yuki. So
I'm sorry, every time you say Rico, I think Rico Nasty. I'm just like, Rico.
I was like, Rico. Suave.
See, different. I'm just like saying Rico like she says Rico.
So Aya and Yuki were actually brother and sister, if I'm following all this correctly. So during the trial, Kumiyo's daughter testified that Matsunaga and Ogata had tortured Aya with electricity.
Electricity?
Yes.
Sorry.
Electricity. Ogata denied this testimony, saying the girl's recollections might have been inaccurate because of her guilty feelings about committing her first murder. It was said that the daughter was forced to strangle Aya on June 7th of 1998.
Shit.
So the bodies of the victims were dismembered and boiled in pots.
Oh, okay. Here we go to the pulverization. Taking notes.
I guess if the bones are brittle enough after boiling them,
Exactly.
you can...
Go ahead.
They were disposed of in washrooms or put out to sea. Residents complained of strange noises and smells. Mm-hmm. But of course, nobody looked into it.
The screeching at 1 o'clock in the morning and that awful smell.
They're like, oh, they're just into some wild shit.
They're just roasting some beef and watching a movie. Get the fuck out my face.
And it was said that his condo was renovated after the murders, so I wonder who lives in there now.
Ooh. We should go there and do like an overnight stay. Do some paranormal activity shit.
Look, I don't fuck with that shit. I'm sorry.
That was a ghost.
Look, I don't fuck with that shit. You gonna have me in there with some sage, a rosary.
I'm gonna go in there alone and just be like the walkie-talkie.
I'm like, you alright, son? You had to record it, you had to snot run down your nose. Okay.
Damn, that was good.
So, Matsunaga blamed all the murders on Junko.
Mm-hmm. As is the case, you weak bitch.
Right. And so, but the crazy thing is Junko was the only one of her family that survived, except for the 2 children that they had together.
Oh, they had 2 kids?
Yeah. I think they said that they were boys.
She still fucked him after raping her mother?
I'm sure he just raped her. That
True
probably
shit. I'm
makes
sorry.
sense.
I probably shouldn't have jumped to conclusions.
Or he probably just played mind games with her that she didn't find a problem with it.
True shit.
So in July of 2000, Matsunaga convinced another woman to go away with him.
Again, what is this stroke game like? Right. Is it a 10-inch cocky?
Yeah. Never mind. I don't want to be problematic here.
What if he uses strap on?
Talking about 10-inch copies, you know the other day was
Man, you trying to? Oh, Nia's about to spill some tea.
The other day
You got some, Nia?
No, I was gonna say the other day was Jamaican Independence Day.
It's today.
It's today?
It was trending on Twitter today.
Like they've been celebrating like all fucking week, son.
As is the case.
Yeah, you know.
Go ahead.
Find me a Jamaican.
Wine upon the cocky.
Wine bun the cocky. All right. Back to this murder.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
So yeah, in July 2000, Matsunaga convinced another woman to go away with him, with the same promise of marriage as the previous women. In August of 2001, she gave him her twin children.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he gave them to her and Junko. So
You must be out your goddamn mind.
Yep. The two of them then convinced the woman to give them 20 million yen, telling her that they needed the money to bring up the children.
How will you keep that money and raise your own children? The fuck?
Precisely. While these murders and everything else were still going on, Camino's daughter was still held captive in their house.
Holy shit.
And she finally escaped on January 30th of 2002, but was later found by Matsunaga and again tortured with electric shocks.
I'm sorry. It's just unbelievable.
So let's get into his arrest and trial.
Finally. Does he get set free after 2 years?
I don't have, no, they ain't as dirty as the other cops. So, Kumino's daughter escaped again, this time in March, and reported the crimes to the police.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her. And Matsunaga and Ogata were arrested the next day. The twins that they took, and their two children were placed in police protection. No physical evidence was found due to the ways the bodies were disposed. So the prosecutors built their case based on testimony from Junko and Kumino's daughter. And I keep saying Kumino's daughter because they never revealed what her name was.
Yeah. I'm glad this isn't another name because I would have been fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a lot. That's why I said pay attention.
Look, just read Wikipedia and then come back.
Yeah. So throughout the trial, Matsunaga denied having committed the murder, claiming he was only abusing the victims because he did not like their attitude.
Because that's so much better.
Yeah.
That's all right, right?
Yeah. And he didn't intend to kill them because they were his money trees.
Kiss my goddamn ass.
He insisted that Junko committed all the murders on her own.
As is... give me 1 minute with this motherfucker. 1 minute. The
pair was charged with Aya's death, murder, on September 18th of 2002. Takusagi, which is Junko's dad's murder, on October 12th. Shizumi's murder on December 6th. Yuki's murder on January 11th. Kumio's murder on February 3rd. And we're going into 2003 at this point. Riko's murder on February 25th. And Kazuya's murder on May 30, 2003. No murder charges were brought against Kumio's daughter. And Junko calmly confessed to her part in the murders. But Matsunaga professed his own innocence, which we said several times. And he insisted that the women had fabricated the stories about him. Because, women are crazy and they make up shit. The Japanese police never recovered any human remains. And as I stated before, the testimonies is what solidified everything. So on September 28th of 2005, a district court in Fukuoka sentenced Matsunaga and Ogata to die by hanging.
Shit, damn, go ahead, Japan.
The court tried 6 cases, but considered that Matsunaga and Ogata had not killed Tasagi directly, but had only injured him by electric shocks, which later resulted in his death.
Go ahead.
They still killed the nigga. That doesn't make any sense to me. So the pair appealed their verdict on September 26, 2007. The Fukuoka High Court upheld Matsunaga's original sentence, but Junko's sentence was changed from death to life imprisonment because Matsunaga had controlled her and forced her to kill the victims. And that's all the information I have on this case.
That's a good ass case.
I wish there was more information though. But
So, like, one thing that came to mind, like, while this, like, happened. So, like, what do you think about, like, people, like, how do I explain this? How would you go about convicting or blaming, like, putting blame on someone who has been, quote unquote, brainwashed?
that's a hard question.
Because it's like, we could say she was brainwashed, but at the same time, it's like, at what point is that an excuse? Like, at any point, you should have woken up and been like, this is your fucking family.
But see, then I think you start crossing the lines of victim blaming. Because, like, me personally, I'd have been like, when he first raped your mama, or before that, because apparently he was abusive to her before the mom got raped. Why didn't she leave then? But see, then there's the whole...
But how is that victim blaming when it's like, again, like, if y'all don't know at this point, my views, Myra, hello, are very problematic sometimes. But it's like, how is that victim blaming when it's like,
yeah,
like,
I feel
this
like
is right
you,
or wrong? Like, this is your mom.
I feel like maybe you being the victim goes out the window when you start doing shit like this. Because I feel like at some point, you have to be headstrong enough to realize what this man is asking me to do, or this person, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a man, but this person's asking me to do.
Like, you know
ridiculous.
What's right or wrong.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of women and men become weak when it comes to love, and I'm doing air quotes here. Like, they stop thinking and they just do whatever.
Yeah. I feel like that's an excuse, though.
I agree.
Because I'm sorry. But
I agree. But would this be classified as like a crime of passion, or like what's the thing I've seen it in
I was gonna say Asperger's. I'm so sorry. Damn, I know what you're talking about.
It's a thing where couples, when they get together, they just become even more insane.
Never mind.
Is it one of those? Well, that might apply to the West case we did. That applies to the West case.
True.
Not in this one. You're thinking about, like, was it not Munchausen?
Yes.
Is it Munchausen?
Let me Google this before
Y'all, we about to mess this all up. We'll get the wrong titles for it.
Munch. Is it munch, like you munch food?
No, it's the one where you're held captive and then you start showing capacity. Yeah.
Munchausen by proxy is a mental illness in a form of child abuse. The caretaker of a child, most often.
That's like that HBO show, Mommy.
Yeah, Mommy Dearest.
Yeah. That's Munchausen. This is Stockholm syndrome.
There you go. God,
we went through everything. The whole medical encyclopedia.
Thank you.
Went through the whole medical encyclopedia. Yeah, Stockhausen. When you start Stockholm.
Stockhausen. You mix. Look, have you been drinking, Nia?
No, I'm tired. Had a long weekend. Yeah, it's
No.
I wish. But yeah, it's when you start showing compassion for your captor.
Yeah. But at the same point, it wasn't a captor.
Your abuser? Do you have to be held captive to do it?
I don't know. Like, it's just so different. Like, for me, it's different. Like, this is different.
But
it's like cult members. Like, at what point is it like, you're a grown-ass person. You know what's right or wrong. Like, you can't... For me, it's like, as a cult member, they're not innocent. You know what's right or wrong.
I wonder if a lot of these people have addictive personalities. Like, if they... Because you know how, like, you become addicted to a substance? True. You can become addicted to a person. So
but at the same time, it's just like, you're just as responsible. No,
I'm not denying that. I'm just trying to, like... try to understand their way of thinking, because just like you, there's no way in hell you gonna put me in a cult and think I'm gonna follow that shit.
Fuck that. The moment you say you gotta leave your family, peace.
Yeah, but see, that same thing happens in abusive relationships. They try to force you away from your family and your friends.
Are we just too logical? Possibly. Never mind. I shouldn't say that. You know my past.
But you got away. But I feel like. And even then, your situation wasn't as bad as some people, you know, so. But I just think that in a lot of these cases, it does have to do with, like, upbringing, because how much confidence
and we don't know much
and stuff
about
your parents put in you, and
right.
and things like and your experiences does affect that, because who knows, she may have had a severely low self-esteem because of some things that happened to her in the past, and she was just so pressed to have someone to like her that she just did whatever the case may be. It could be a number of reasons why, but I am curious, like, what makes you think that? Because there's no way in hell a man will be like, hey, bro, let's go kill somebody together. And I'm gonna be like,
or like, yo, what's your mom doing tonight? Like, what?
Let me rape your moms.
What? Squeeze the fuck out of me.
But that happened in the mommy dearest thingy.
Oh, yo, if y'all haven't watched that, y'all gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do another episode. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess
there's really... I think both of these cases are just kind of like a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, are they innocent? Are they actually like can you fully like blame them for the shit that they did? Is there some sort of explanation? You know what we think? Fuck them. Burn in hell. You know. I
really feel like this is something I've thought of for a while, but I feel like it should be mandatory for everyone to have a therapist. Like, there should be like a law set in place.
With the person in office right now, we're all fucked.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking of him. I don't like to think that he's there, but I just. But I agree. Yeah, a lot of things could be avoided if people had people to talk to analyze things and help them. You know, what is it? Carpet.
I don't know these big words. Man, sound it out. Syllable.
Compartmentalize.
Damn.
Compartmentalize. You know what I'm trying to say?
Compartmentalize.
Alright, we gone. Alright, that's it. Oh yeah, don't forget to follow us everywhere, please. Instagram,
Antisocial Murder Club, Twitter, AS Murder Club. SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts.
We're even on YouTube if you like to listen to it that way.
Yes, we're on YouTube now. Just like view us for 30 seconds, close out of it, go about your day. Do it in the background. You can mute us. Just give us the views. Yes. Just give us the views. But yeah, this was episode 8. We are back and stronger than ever, motherfuckers.
Yes. We'll return.
We will. Bye.
Bye.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.